let's first hit a drum roll. And the winner of NXT Breakout Star of the Year for men goes to Obafemi, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause for Obafemi. So Obafemi, 37% of y'all voted on Discord for Obafemi to be the NXT Breakout Star of the Year. Now, Discord had the least amount of votes. So Twitter had the second most amount, and then YouTube had the most amount of votes on every category, right? So just remember that going into things, because some of them you'll see the numbers don't lie, and the numbers explain how, maybe over on Discord, we may have voted one way. Well, the masses say something else. So Obafemi won 37% of the vote on Discord, 71% of the vote on Twitter, and 65% of the vote from YouTube. Me personally, that's my vote. I think that's the only correct option. And I'm looking forward, we all thought he was going to get called up to the main roster, let alone he showed up and now he's going to get a shot at this title coming up here. I'm excited for it, and I'm excited to see what he does in the future, and I can't wait to see the NXT SmackDown crossovers that are going to happen. And I'm telling y'all this, right? You guys see the dirt sheets now saying what your boy Phil was already saying, and that is, there's no set time limit to Raw on Netflix. I'm telling you another thing nobody's saying right now. NXT SmackDown are going to both sort of blend together, and that's how you're going to keep both of those shows keeping their ratings up. You know what I mean? But they'll still stay separate, but you're going to see a lot more like Meta Girls crossover, Obafemi crossover, Ethan Page main roster for sure, that sort of thing. Moving along, let's get a drum roll for our women's NXT Breakout Star of the Year. Let me run that drum roll, please. Jada Parker, round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Jada Parker. So Jada Parker got 53% of the vote on Discord, 44% on Twitter, 39% on YouTube, the majority on all platforms as well. So you might be going, oh, come on now, Phil, 39% is kind of low. But she got the majority vote on all platforms, won unanimously. And yeah, I mean, you could say Julia, you could say, but she just came in and was already kind of a star. There was no real breakout that happened. She was already broked out, Same with Steph. She just came in. What's the breakout? She could go and take anyone's spot on the main roster right now. You could say Delta, but she hasn't put in the body of work. So it's got to be Lola Vice or Jada. Obviously, it's Jada. I mean, who's more over than her right now? She could go to main roster tomorrow, take anyone's spot. She's young in the game. So Julia and Vac Air are already vets in their paths that they walked before they got to WWE. Jada Parker was brought in as an NIL and became what she has become, future NXT Women's Champion here. And yeah, round of applause for her if we haven't already given her one. Amazing year. But we are not done here tonight. We are continuing along with other awards that we got to give away. So we are giving away the other awards right now. Okay, the other category. What is the other category? It is TNA. It is Ring of Honor. Yes, I put that there because it's just a glorified super indie. AEW talent go there, but their fans want to scream at you that it's two separate things, and I swear by this. You go check out any sickos out there. They will yell to the high heavens that AEW and ROH are separate. I swear to God. But anyways, Ring of Honor is grouped in this. GCW, New Japan, some mud show indie, just other. This category is other. We voted. You all voted. The PWT universe voted. And the other tag team wrestlers of the year, I'll give them a drum line, even though I'm showing it right here already. We will give them a drum line because they deserve one. The Hardy Boys. So the system, Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards received 40% of the votes on Discord. However, there was less votes on Discord than Twitter by a lot, and then on YouTube by far. So procuring 51% of the total tallies voted, the Hardy Boys deleted. No, I won't do it. The competition. So yeah, 51% on Twitter voted the Hardy Boys, 52% voted the Hardy Boys on YouTube. And you know what? I gotta kind of agree, and I'll tell you why. Because they have helped revitalize the TNA roster and the TNA programming, and I know people's last images in their head of Jeff are him either walking out of WWE not looking so well, or being on AEW and not looking well. But in TNA, there's like an extra spring to both his and Matt's step. I'm not sure what it is, and I don't know. They're locked in, so I'm going to wish them the best of luck, and they are legends, and they actually officially signed, because I believe WWE was not interested in them like at all. And unfortunately, so maybe in the future for like a Hall of Fame, or at least they weren't interested in them in the way that the Hardys were interested in WWE. That's to my understanding. So they just actually signed on with TNA because they were just on a per date thing. And like Nick Nemeth, they're signed on, and they're going, no, we're going to fill houses and do this damn thing in 2025. So I think check them out and their matches and sort of what they've done to sort of revitalize their tag division when they needed it too. I was harping on it forever. ABC, we can't just watch them run the tag division forever. You know, just it's always them on top for the last like few years, I want to say, which is fine. They had their dominant run, but there was no other teams. Like, we had seen everything. Boom, the Hardys come in. So congrats, the Hardy Boys legends. They deserve it. One more time. One more time. One more time. It might be the only time they get one of these types of awards here again, other than the Hall of Fame, which we'll talk about later. Moving along here, I sort of just stooged it, but we'll drum roll the next one as well. This is the Women's Other of the Year, okay? Wrestler of the Year, Jordynne Grace, unanimously, 84% on Discord, 82% on Twitter, 78% on YouTube. And Jordynne Grace is your other Women's Wrestler of the Year. And yeah, she deserves it. Next year, she'll be in the WWE category. I don't think anyone else deserves it more. Her, I would say, from the TNA side, was the MVP of the TNA NXT crossovers. I think we'll get more of that in the future. But I think that Wendy Chu is the WWE side's MVP of those crossovers. But I digress. She got jumped by Tessa Blanchard. Obviously, she's going to pass the torch. She already has to Masha, who's the right pick as well. See, TNA knows how to book. You bring Blanchard in and have her, you know, like Masha just scraped the belt off of Jordan after all their battles. You have Tessa come in, who beats up Jordan to get her off of the Knockouts title, because the title elevates Masha and whatever she's doing, and maybe Killer Kelly might be coming back soon. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. And like you have now you have like a women's match that's bigger than a title in them, and then Jordan will ultimately lay down for Tessa and Masha, but it meant more to actually pass that title to Masha than have Tessa come in, and then she just gives it to her, you know. And then you have like Xia Li over there. So to me, she's the MVP. You know, there's a rumor she has heat with Tessa. Still just a consummate profesh. Yeah, I would just say she's going to be an absolute star. 2025, get ready for star time. Star time. And I hope you're all having a Merry Christmas. I am. I'm lit, and I'm having a great grand old time. Moving along. Round of applause. We got a round of applause, everybody, guys. Okay, we're giving flowers and Christmas cheer. So, a drum roll for the men's other wrestler of the year. The award goes to Joe Hendry. Now, I'm not going to sit here and argue this. You know, I think Matt Cardona won last year, deservedly so, because you'd have to give it to him otherwise, I feel. But Joe Hendry, with the way he swept the social medias and the way people want to go, he's fallen off, but he's about to go win the TNA World title and have his run for 2025 until his contract's up. and then he'll go to WWE in 2026. You know, they busted him out in NXT as like an experiment, and it blew up, I think, bigger than they even thought. WWE even thought it would. That's my belief, because I don't think they would have did that. However, there's a seed planted, and they know they can go back to that well. Like, that's not go. Here's the thing: everyone has always slept on Joe Hendry. Okay, he's been doing the parody songs and the say his name, and he's been doing that for like over a decade, I think. I'm pretty sure. So at least like a variation of that, right? He may have had brown hair at the time, but he was basically the same guy. Everyone said like this thing's played out, or when's going to be his time? Well, it's coming, and I'm telling you, this thing will still hit. WWE will know how to make this big no matter what. Every time he appears, it's going to be big. So don't worry. He's a guy that they've established can just sort of show up. Can just sort of show up, take over a show. Like he took over the production of NXT and whatever, and he's just this sort of mystical little bugger, isn't he? No, but he's like how do you explain it? He's not like a comedy guy. He's like a serious guy, but he's also sort of this mystical guy who can just take over the show and pop up whenever, and they just planted that seed. If he shows up at the Rumble, big pop, he can get eliminated. He doesn't got to show up again until his contract's up, and he could show up at the Rumble with the TNA World title itself, which Joe Hendry will do that before Nick Nemeth will ever do that. I promise you that as well. Anyways, I've spent so much time on this because I love Joe Hendry. 79% on Discord, 74% on Twitter, 74% on YouTube. A unanimous win for Joe Hendry. Round of applause. PWT. But the tag team of the year for AEW are the Outrunners. Okay, so the Outrunners won 63% of the votes on Discord, 58% of the votes on Twitter, and 64% of the votes on YouTube. And they are the tag team wrestlers of the year. I don't know why. It's not like they're putting on the craziest matches, but they're just over. And again, I've been a fan of them since I've been watching OVW again. Back, like, I guess when that Wrestlers show on Netflix came out, that's after that I was like, okay, I'm gonna start watching OVW on YouTube. They started having a YouTube presence, and they're featured on there, and they're featured on like a local comic book shop commercial that aired that sponsored OVW or whatever as well. So they were over with me because of that. Then they're showing up on AEW, and they become like the top merch sellers without even being featured on Dynamite, really. And for some reason, Tony Khan's like, oh, I know, we'll just stick them with FTR. It's a Christmas miracle. But yeah, people voted them the best tag team because they're funny. They get it. It's a gimmick. They have no problems laying down for someone else, and they're just being silly, but they can work. They do really extremely dumb on Collision and stuff and Rampage. They have in the past. But when they go out there and really have a match, like if you watch some OVW shit of them, yeah, I agree. Now, should they be the tag team wrestlers of the year? I don't know. You could argue like the Bucks, or I'm sure you could really technically break down in AEW, whatever. But at the end of the day, the merch sales matter, the popularity matters, and amongst the fan base, and you want to cater to them while trying to exploit what your audience loves to the casuals, and then finding what casuals will like to attract them and hopefully get some of them really into the sicko stuff. So I don't know. Outrunners toe that line for me. I agree, and round of applause for that. I voted for them myself, I was allowed one vote as well. I just think if you really ran with this, you could do something with it. We'll see what AEW chooses to do with it. Next up, AEW Women's Wrestler of the Year. Chat, who do you guys think it is? I'm going to play a drum roll. It's Toni Storm. Toni Storm for 63% on Discord, 56% on Twitter, and 70% on YouTube. And I agree, just based on gimmick, held the belt for a while. Mariah May got it off her. Quality of matches, doing this new gimmick right before the end of the year. I know that Tony Khan literally stuck her on Rampage for her return match. And then Brian Alvarez was like, people are appalled. But guess what else Tony did? he stuck her on the ROH Boxing Day Brawl show. I'm not lying.
The best guy's Tony Khan.
I'm going to tear him a new asshole on the proper PWT show. This is Christmas, folks. We're trying to have, oh, come on now, Phil. That's not very fair to withhold the wrath of the flutes. No, but for real, listen to me. That's saved for another day, but Tony put her in Ring of Honor now. It's not a joke. Look it up. So I can't believe we're saying this, but in my mind, this is what I think Tony thinks, right? We're just going to, I'll give you guys this. I think when like Wardlow has his run, he just goes, oh, well, that was it. And then he just drops it. And then Tony, whatever, she'll come back to Mariah, lose to Mariah again. Ring of Honor, you can fight Athena. Ricky Starks, he sort of had his run. Oh, he comes back from injury. Oh, we'll give you the tag straps. Oh, that was it. It's done. I think certain people he just has pigeonholed like that, and then he's fixated on others, and he thinks just putting belts on those others and letting them do whatever, have a match on a pay-per-view is sufficient, you know? Either way, though, this isn't a critique. This is an award. We're celebrating someone here. We're celebrating Toni Storm, the timeless gimmick. The amnesia thing, people are like, wait, why wouldn't she remember this and why this? Well, because it's a character for a wrestling show who forgets. I don't know if you've ever known anyone with amnesia. I'm not going to be like, idiot, you've never known anyone with amnesia? But, like, come on, man. I have. Like, I know someone who came out of like a coma after a seizure and they didn't remember like really serious, but remembered like obscure. So it's like that movie Overboard with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. No. But yeah, she's like amnesiac or whatever, and it'll come back. She'll be timeless again. Or someone pointed out on Twitter as well, it might have been Suplex, like, yo, this is her greatest role. Like this is timeless Toni Storm playing the role of herself coming into AEW for the first time again. Do you guys get it? Like, she's going to relive her like it's just part of her wacky gimmick. Either way, whatever she does is the most entertaining. They've literally put Toni Storm in black and white on screen, and she's just dancing around with Luther in the background, handing her cakes and cigarettes, and she's like the most entertaining thing on Dynamite. So I spent a lot of time on this because I love the goddamn Graps. I'm passionate about these wrestlers, especially. I might say AEW and the way it's being ran, but that has nothing to do with the talent. Even like a Daniel Garcia, I got to say that for real going into 2025. Like it's got to be known. Like, I don't think that guy can't wrestle or isn't good or couldn't be something. It's just the way Tony views him just isn't the way that it's going to work if you're trying to reach the most amount of people, which they all claim they're trying to do. So, hey, that's all I'm saying. Much love, but like, yeah. The dick wiggle is like, you know, there's periods where you dead and you move on. You shed a skin. Jericho knows that. You know, I thought that was your boy. Anyways, though, let's move along here. Let's celebrate people. Drum roll for the men. AEW Wrestler of the Year. Again, everyone was pretty unanimous on this, and I think it's just like a technicality. I think it's just a technicality, honest to God. Swerve Strickland. So he got 63% on Discord, 57% on our Twitter, 70% on YouTube, as voted by y'all. I took one vote. That's it. I got to agree as well. Say what you will. He was the champ as they went into the TV deal. No. So let's say we pat Roman on the back for that and Cody Rhodes, and we'll give that to Swerve as well. Let's pull all the carny out of it, all of our biased opinions, right? Swerve was their champ for a big TV deal for them. I mean, the amount of money WBD was willing to give them is just asinine. So I would say that's a W for him, whatever. And he claimed Tony Khan will let him do whatever he wants. So W. Of course, I'm joking. Got to throw jokes in there, guys. But listen, he was the world champ. I don't know what it amounted to. He really did try with the Hangman stuff. Like, they were trying to tell a story. He believes it's one of the best stories ever. I think it's one of the worst in AEW's history, truly. Like, at the highest level. Like, if that was a low-level one, okay, it's mid-card. But no, this was like over the world title, him and Hangman. The story had no real heat. Two tweeners. You don't really know who to cheer for. They're both doing needles, baby crib invasions, house burn downs. You don't know, like, there's no redemption. There's no growth. It was just two guys like who just really didn't like each other. over the world title. Okay, that's just like surface level. But it was what it was. He was just the champ for a while, and he was there through some of their lowest ratings ever as the champ as well. That should be noted, too. So not trying to boo-boo on him again. But Swerve, he'll carry the ball. Like, he did what he could. We don't blame Swerve. It's not like he sucks. He's a good wrestler. They saw it in him in NXT. Triple H wanted him back after Vince released everybody. They're all high. Triple H wanted him back with the rest of Hit Row. He was like, not that. All of Hit Row went back. And yeah, I just think that he's a big player wherever he goes. I don't know if he'd ever be a world champ in WWE, but it is what it is for AEW. And he bulked up in 2024. We saw him stop slapping his leg as much. And we did see some dumb, I'm not going to lie, but just on a technicality, it's like, okay, who was featured prominently and really cutting promos, and his manager's over, and, you know, he's got a cool song, and he's like trying to actually make a play here. He's trying to make a play, okay? Like, he's not just out there crying about WWE, even though he did at one point be like, I got the receipts about WWE, but he really didn't have receipts, like, because he said it in an interview way before he said it on his own pod. He's like, yeah, I told them to just call my manager, or like, don't like talk to my representation or whatever. So he was capping. So yes, that was a botch, but on TV, he wasn't making it about them. Okay, I've harped on it enough. You guys get it? Why he won? All the AEW awards are like, well, I guess, you know, because it's AEW. No, we got it. Come on, round of applause for Swerve. Okay, we got to give him his due as much as we can, you know? I'm actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull a Tony Khan. I have my predictions laid out 1 through 5, but I'm actually going to flip them upside down like on Mark Barrett for the holidays. And we're going to do it that way and see if it works. And I'm not joking. This is a shoot. I'm going to flip them backwards just because Tony did that once, and this is funny. So my prediction this is the one I made today before I came on the air, however, because it took me a while to formulate. I really thought about all these, okay? But this is the one I'm going to read first, I guess. So AEW Shockwave will not happen at all. It won't become a show. It won't become anything, at least not in 2025. There will be no AEW Shockwave, nothing. All right? Tony Khan will introduce yet another new AEW championship, whether that means merging 2 existing belts together to make a new one, or just a completely new one from scratch, or some sort of trophy trinket someone carries around, like the Dynamite Diamond Ring or the Heritage Cup or whatever, right? Like he's going to come out with another belt, or he's going to merge 2 belts to make a super belt, or there's going to be some new trinket in 2025. He can't help himself, you know? So there will be a new title, the women's tag belts or something. My third prediction for AEW. AEW Dynamite will break its own lowest TV rating / demo record. So either or both. I'm putting that on the record. Either or both. Dynamite will break its own lowest TV rating demo record in its normal time slot more than once. Pause. Let's bring it back. Hip, 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 hip. Okay? Yeah. Hear what I'm saying? It's very specific. I'm getting very specific on this. AEW Dynamite will break its own lowest TV rating demo record, either or, in its normal time slot more than one time. Ooh. It's incredible. Yeah, Merry Meltzer Christmas to all of you. An incredibly bold prediction on my end. That's very specific, okay? Don't know why I got a feeling. These are for 2025, by the way. Darby Allen will become the AEW World Champion. This will be bad enough, but at least it's not Orange Cassidy. That's what I wrote in my notes. So I believe Darby Allen will become the world champ. They won't put it on Pockets. They won't put it on Garcia, but they will put it on Darby Allen. And I could see Allen being the one to stop Mox. Of course, Husey came on the show and said that what Disco said that he heard. So it's not even Conan. It's Disco was saying this. So it's not even an allegedly, because he said this on K100. But Husey brought it to the show that Disco had heard from people that there's literally no direction with the Neo Moxley clan stuff. They're just doing it. And now I don't know. Who knows if anyone's feeding Disco right information from AEW. I'm sure he has friends. Who knows? All I'm saying is this. I believe Darby will get the belt off maybe Lashley. I just have a feeling, I've been saying it since Lashley came into the company, Darby will beat Lashley. Cassidy won't. These other guys won't, but they'll make Darby go over on him. Like, they'll make him put over Darby. So either Lashley beats Mox and then Darby beats Lashley, or Darby beats Mox. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe just beats Lashley after that. Like, for real. But yeah, Darby will have that title in 2025. And then my last prediction for AEW in 2025, Dave Meltzer will appear on AEW TV in some form or fashion because
the best guy is Tony Khan.
He will appear. It'll be an appearance in the crowd. He'll be in a kickoff panel. He'll be backstage. Jericho, and I think I'm boosting this. Like, I saw someone else tweet this out, by the way. So if anyone's like, I said that first, yeah, for sure. A few people were saying this online, but it's something I have to agree with. And that's why I reversed them. Well, it's not why, actually. I was going to, if I did it in order, it would have been the obvious ones first, actually. My really bold predictions would have been last, but there you go. I legit pulled the Tony Khan on this one just because. But anyways, yeah, so Meltzer will appear. Like, Jericho's already brought him up. The Bucks are leaning into their, of course, they're not even really on AEW TV. I think we see him, and I want to be bold and say, not even just like, Dave Meltzer backstage at the World's End press conference, and like, it won't be him just asking a question either. I'm talking like we will see him spliced into a video of theirs, like in a vignette promoting something or something. Like, we will see him on AEW TV in some form or fashion. And if the chat want to grant me that and say, oh, come on now, Phil, that's not very fair to grant you the press conference because that's in the lore as well. If that's what you guys want to say and you want to give me that one, cool.
Oh, come on now, Eric.
But I'll dock myself like half a point, half a credit. See, I'm fair. The fair Phil Marks, the infallible and the frank and the frantic and the fair and the fanatical Phil Marks. But anyways, enough of alliterations here, okay? Your boy Phil is fair, and I will even not give it to myself if he's on a post press conference, But if he's on a kickoff or if he's on in a vignette or something like that, I don't even know yet what they could pull out of their ass. Or he's just backstage and then it's like they cut away. Remember when like Tony Khan popped up backstage in that Adam Cole MJF? If like Meltzer just pops up, something like that will happen in 2025. And then he's going to like be smug about it while also in the same year saying people are in other people's pockets. And that's your Dave Meltzer dumb moment of the week. He didn't even make the show, but we'll play it. Yeah, but if you guys grant me that one, then okay, I'll take it, But I'm not even counting backstage, post whatever. I'm talking like just on the TV in general. Anyways, round of applause for my prediction, because I think those are cool. So the WWE Tag Team Wrestlers of the Year, unanimous, and I love that they won this because goddamn, there's so much chef's kiss intrigue going into 2025 with Naomi now earning that title instead of Jade, and they established the big three early on, and I was a little critical of it, but I was like, I get why they're doing it. Boom, Naomi can float in. She's now a tag champ. They don't have to vacate. We were all like, why don't they vacate? God damn it. But damn, the PWT universe understands it, and you guys get it. This is our own bubble, by the way. These awards, who cares about these awards? Nobody has to care about them. The PWT universe is who cares about them, right? And we know that. We're not dumb. So Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill won 53% of the vote on Discord, 55% on Twitter, 45% on YouTube. And again, some people might be like, oh, come on now, Phil. 45%. They were the majority, though, on YouTube as well, right? So what I did here on these, by the way, I know you guys are looking at my Google spreadsheet here. These are the highest rate. I put the highest voted. You know what I mean? For each category on here. So they were the highest voted at 45%, even on YouTube. But they easily got the most votes. And yeah, let's think about it. Won the titles twice, beat the people who beat them. If you want to like talk kayfabe, shoot, work, shoot, work, shoot, work. Defended a bunch, are an actual unit, have cool tag moves, have had good storylines. The other options were like that. I nominated everyone this year as well. So I didn't have the last vote, but I got to nominate everyone. I think that's fair. They beat out Motor City. They beat out other people, but it's like, who do we give it to? Jacob and Tama, who kind of just passed the belts around. Who do we give it to? Motor City, who came in, won them, and then lost them. Who do we give it to? Finn and JD. Now, I would be willing to say yes, Finn and JD, but the PWT universe spoke, and it's Jade and Bianca. So there you go. I think I did vote for JD and Finn personally as well, because I was like, okay, if we really stack it up, they're making indie dates. Look at the people they beat, etc. So yeah, but you guys spoke, and that's what this is all about. So Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill won the WWE tag team, and it is genderless for the tag team category. Because in WWE, what do you do? A women's tag team? You can't do that. Even in TNA, they have the Knockouts division, but there's not enough tag teams to do their own category. So yeah, round of applause. Let's get a drum roll. Rhea Ripley, ladies and gentlemen, who won the goddamn thing. And I specifically found a picture of her with the mask because I thought that was cool, what she was doing to end the year. And I love how the dirt sheets always report, can't be a PWT Christmas without a little dirt sheet burial. Hey, I love how the dirt sheets go like, the guy who makes the masks for Bray made the mask for Rhea. Oh, the guy who made the mask for Bray made the mask for Bo. And the guy who made the mask for Bray made the mask. Yeah, he makes all the masks for them now. Why don't you interview him, you idiots? Interview him and just have them go, yeah. They contact me every time they need a mask pretty much now. Every time. Mommy won. And the reason being, you might be like, oh, come on now, Phil. That's not very fair to give me a blue chew and work me up like that in the Discord with Liv Morgan winning 53% by a landslide slaughter, but having her lose. It's because there's way more people on Twitter who voted and then way more on YouTube who voted. And you guys can go look at the numbers if you don't believe me. So Discord voted 53% of us voted Liv. I voted Rhea as well. And yeah, it's Rhea. It's got to be. I think she won last year. She wins again. She has to. 47% on Twitter, 56% on YouTube. It's just the fact that, like, next year she might not get this distinction, but it's the fact that she's the most over woman in pro wrestling today. She gets it, right? She's been in all the high profile storylines, at least the women's world title reign. All of these things you have to factor in. This distinction might not be hers in 2025, folks, but for 2023 and 2024, you have to give it to her because even though Liv won the belt, Liv's reign, and follow me here, folks, okay? PWT Universe, Drunken Phil in Minecraft. You guys got to follow this logic because I am dropping bars here. Liv's reign as world champion doesn't mean what it means right now if she didn't win that from Rhea. You guys get what I'm saying? Liv, if she won that from Raquel, if she won it off Becky even, cool. But it's the story and all the that comes with it. And the fact she still got Rhea lingering while Liv's doing all these side quests, that is what like validates her world title run even more. If you guys pick up what I'm putting down, I'm sure you do. Yeah. So congratulations. I can't add anything more. She's the GOAT right now. Go round of applause for Rhea. Drum roll for the men's WWE Wrestler of the Year. This was close, man. This was like a really great vote. I believe the votes were between Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Gunther, and Roman Reigns. You could argue any of them, especially when I say Wrestler of the Year. Now, I assume the PWT universe understands when I talk about wrestler, I'm talking about everything that encompasses a pro wrestler. Work rate, Dave Meltzer. You know, that's a goofy mark term. Are you a draw? Who can you wrestle? Do you have to wrestle the same guy? Can you wrestle anyone and have a match? Roman can. Cody can. Punk can. Gunther can. Are you a draw? What are you telling stories? Those sorts of things, right? And it's very hard in WWE to narrow it down to one. But we voted, and the unanimous winner. But it was close. Like there, in a couple of them, it was close between him and other people. But guys, it is the one who you thought adrenaline in my soul, every thought out of control. Gonna give them what they pay to see. It's karaoke. Everyone sing it in the chat. Everyone clap too. The crowd is here, about to. Whoa, my father said. So it's Cody Rhodes, guys. Okay, he won. Let's drop some. 42% on Discord, 54% on Twitter, 51% on YouTube. I don't know if like he really swung the votes in the later days, like on the early, I'm talking first couple of days where I could really keep an eye on everything. It was close with him and other people, bro. It was kind of going back, volleying there back and forth for a bit on different platforms. So at the end, though, he got nearly half the votes everywhere. Yeah, Cody Rhodes, what can we say? Again, I talked about this with Husey. Cody Rhodes arguably is a bigger draw than Cena. Like the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling. People go, oh, well, it's got to be Hogan. It's got to be Austin. It's got to be Rock. You could debate Rock. You could debate it could be Andre or Bruno, but probably Rock. If you're doing Mount Rushmore of like draws, like who is in the wrestling business. And then it used to be John Cena. You could honestly argue it's Cody Rhodes, man. He's outsold the attendances are breaking all the records. Oh, well, they're just price gouging. Yeah, but why can they do that? Inflation's up everywhere, but they're able to gouge people for wrestling tickets when they don't even need to do that. Why are they able to do that? They don't need to do that, folks. They're able to do that. Why? Because we've broken it down, and I've said it too. Everybody want to say, I'm drinking, pardon me. Everybody wants to say the Renaissance era or the retroactive era, all these eras. I'm telling you, this is the superstar era. What do you mean by that, Phil? Well, let me tell you, chat. The superstar era means everyone's a superstar, bro. LA Knight's a superstar. He doesn't need the belt. He doesn't need any belt. He lost the U.S. title. He shows up on SmackDown, and he's more over than he was last week. You know, when he lost the belt. Like, and let me give him a yeah for that. Like, everyone's a superstar. Yeah. Everybody that they're investing in going into this Netflix era, they all embody rather. I'm probably using the wrong terminology here. They all embody what it means to be a WWE superstar. Julia does that. Delta does that. Steph Vaquer does that. Cody Rhodes does that. Roman Reigns does that. The Rock does that. Sami Zayn's doing that. Kevin Owens is doing that. LA Knight is doing that, right? Everyone's doing that. So Cody is that guy. He is the hokey Hulk Hogan character of our era. He really is. Oh, Cody's cheesy. Hulk Hogan was cheesy too. Ultimate Warrior was cheesy. Macho Man was silly and cheesy. Cody Rhodes is that guy. He's our colorful cartoon character ushering in the new era. And if I'm to sit here and believe, like, let's say this is the 80s where the Hulkamania blew up, brother. And then do we go into a lull and then hit another Attitude Era where it's, I'm not talking as far as what's on television, but as far as viewership with the Netflix thing? Does WWE come back and go, dude, we did a Raw? In 3 years, do they come back and go, we did a Raw that hit 10 million people? You know what I mean? We don't know. If this is the Renaissance era, so what, like the 80s where Hulk Hogan and wrestling was booming. Okay, so then there was a bit of a lull, and then all of a sudden it was the hottest era of all time. Do we enter that again? Off the back of what Cody and Roman and all these people are providing for us? I don't know, but who's the champ? Who's holding the gold? Who's got the strap daddy? Who finished the story? In the Paul Levesque era of WWE, who is being held up high, championed as the champion? Digimon, Digital Champions, Digimon. Right? Who's holding the gold, daddy? It's Dusty Rhodes, kid. It's Cody Rhodes. It's Stardust, daddy. And the Fanatics guy said it. He broke the record for all the athletes. He's got Jay-Z on the phone. No Diddy. Take the Diddy stuff out of it, right? When Jay-Z was still cool, right? 4 weeks ago, he was still cool. And they're like, hey, look, Cody Rhodes is right here. And he's like, oh. And that's what wrestling is right now. And people, wrestling isn't mainstream. And Joey Janela's out there saying Costco guys are more popular than Roman Reigns. No. Go to any major city. Go to New York. Go to Chicago. go to in a big city and go to a mall on a busy day and ask who people know more, Roman Reigns or Costco guys. I gotta say Roman, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. Who knows? And if I am, I'd gladly admit it. But all I'm saying is Cody Rhodes and these guys are starting to become mainstream. It's off of their backs. I've been bibbling and babbling, but it's the WWE Men's Wrestler of the Year. Round of applause. It's right
the best guys, Tony Khan.
And that's why he let Cody go, and now he's in WWE. So my first prediction for WWE in 2025 is that Cody Rhodes, and this is hilarious because if you guys listen to the last show with myself and Husey, there's spoilers on that episode for the Monday Night Raw debut on Netflix. Husey believes, now if he's wrong, Husey looks like an asshole because he's like, plug your ears, skip ahead, there's spoilers for the Netflix Raw. This is happening. If he's wrong, he looks like a dickhead. We still love Husey, right? Things can change, whatever, but he's hearing things from he's hearing alleged things from nobody knows who, right? And maybe Disco. And so he's going to just judge based on what he's hearing, right? And then bring it to the show because it's better I hear it than the dirt sheets. That's truly what people believe. You got to understand that. People like Husey really believe like it's better someone like Phil presents this the way he does than these dirt sheets do it the way they do it, you know? So he comes to me with that stuff, right? And we thank him for it. We love Husey. Shout out Husey. Love you, buddy. So it's funny because I wrote this before he came on the show. So whether this is fact or fiction, who knows? And this is not spoilers for the Netflix thing, but it kind of relates to where it could be related things, okay? So I'm not going to tell you the spoilers. If you want, go. I time-stamped it too in the description. PWT Podcast 85. It says Raw on Netflix, possible spoilers or whatever. Skip ahead. So this isn't spoilers, though, but this is my prediction that Cody Rhodes drops the WWE title and turns heel on Randy Orton or John Cena, even if it's at the tail end of 2025. Do you guys hear that? Let's hear it one more time. Cody Rhodes going to drop his belt and turn heel on either Orton or Cena, even if it's at the tail end of 2025. Now, that is not a spoiler. That's a prediction. You guys go listen to the pod if you want to hear why I brought that up and how that sort of relates to possible spoilers for the Netflix on Raw thing. My second prediction for what do you guys think about that, though? Cody Rhodes heel turn? Yeah, no? So here, my second prediction for WWE in 2025 is they create an all-women's WWE show or special or PLE. They'll bring back Evolution 2, or they'll do some sort of show that's just for women or a special TV special for Netflix or whatever, even if it's exclusively on X or Netflix or Peacock or whatever. So I'll read that again. They create an all-women's WWE show or special or PLE. In 2025, we get, even if it's like a one-off, and also even if it's just on X or it's just on Netflix or it's just on Peacock or whatever, airs one time on the USA Network, right? There will be some sort of women's only something in 2025. My third prediction for WWE is that the World Championships, so the World Heavyweight Champions, the belt that Gunther has, the belt that Liv has, will go to SmackDown, and the WWE Championships, the one that Cody has and the one that Nia has, will go to Raw. And especially because, think about it, Nia's related to The Rock, so it makes sense if he's like, come over, you're coming over to this show. And then Cody as well, and then you get Gunther over on SmackDown, and then it mixes up the challengers, and then they're going to do a little bit of trades or whatever, as the GMs have been alluding to. But I think we get a switch like we did, if you guys remember back in time. If you guys want to go back in time, remember when the world titles got shifted over to SmackDown, or pardon me, the world title, and then the WWE came over to Raw. Cena comes over to Raw, and then I believe Batista went over to SmackDown. And then I think we're going to get the same thing, but both the men and women's for both shows, you know? My fourth prediction is that a TNA Invasion versus NXT show will happen. A PLE or a TV special or a 2-night thing, or maybe it's a TNA thing and not even NXT. And it's like, here's NXT people versus TNA to help boost their. We will see more. They're lulling us. There's ebbs and flows. They're making us forget about the TNA Invasion stuff. TNA Invasion, okay? there will be more crossover stuff is what I'm saying, and we were talking about the invasion. There will be that sort of thing, okay? And I think it's going to come when I think it's going to come when Nick Nemeth drops that belt. So Nick Nemeth fully signed with TNA. He says he wants to be the world champion and fill up the houses because they're aiming to do bigger ones, and he's helping them do that. I think taking the belt off him would be kind of an L right now, but Joe Hendry, it's the time. You got to do it. And then Nemeth can be in programs bigger than the title or like so big that they don't need a title, as we allude to on the show all the time. Nick Nemeth, though, famously said a few months ago, that he won't be a part of any of that WWE whatever stuff. What you're going to see is like TNA talent, like Rosemary, Joe Hendry, people who never crossed over into the NXT WWE world. You're not going to see like Nick Nemeth be brought in or maybe you do, and I get slapped in the face and it's hilarious. And we do see like Nick Nemeth versus Trick Williams or something, but I don't believe it'll be that. Here's the thing, though. I say that, but Ash, what's her name? Ash by Elegance, Dana Brooke. We saw her cross over in the NXT thing after I said we won't see that. The people who've been released by WWE crossover. Like, I don't think we'll see AJ Francis crossover, but we did see Ash by Elegance crossover. So who knows, man? Maybe I'll be wrong about that. I am getting very specific with my predictions, but you got to be bold or else you're just being a bitch. You know what I mean? But yeah, ultimately, I think that we will get a TNA NXT, like TNA versus NXT, some sort of thing like that in 2025. My final prediction for WWE is that another big, and this is very like loosey-goosey, but I needed a fifth one, and again, the last handful of episodes through PWT Podcast and Live Show, I've been talking about this, so I'm sure you guys aren't shocked I'm about to say this, but another big and unexpected name will be released from WWE. Like Baron Corbin was released. Everyone was like, what the? I think we'll see this year like a Sonya Deville or a Miz, I'm dead ass, or a Braun Strowman, or just a name that people are like, whoa, really? Maybe it's not like the biggest draw in the world, right? But it'll be a name where we all go, and maybe it's none of the ones I just said, but I think there'll be a release like the LWO tag team, like, Joaquin and whoever, when they get the Lucha Bros in there. Like in 2025, we'll get a couple of people or someone get released where we go, damn, really? That'll happen once. Now, that's very loose and vague. However, I said loose and vague with a V, Moose Knuckle. Don't get any ideas, okay? No. There'll be a name where we all get taken back for a second. Maybe it'll be from NXT as well. And we go, oh, really? I thought they were banking it all on them. Or, wow, really? Well, I guess they're saving the money. We talked about with Husey as well. Brock Lesnar is technically a free agent. That's a real thing coming up here in the new year. So that's a real life thing. And we know Tony Khan has made a play at Goldberg. Would he make a play at Brock? Who knows? However, I will just say that someone in 2025 is going to get released that takes us all back a little bit, or they'll choose to leave or something like that. Or like they just won't get offered a new something. And we all go, wow, really? That guy? But it'll kind of make sense. So, yeah, that's my predictions. I'll hit an X-Files. I know that last one's loose, but we need to. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our Hall of Fame inductees into the PWT Hall of Fame now. Last year, famously, I believe John Cena, Sting, and Gail Kim went in. This year, I picked two people.
Oh, come on now, Eric.
You guys don't get to vote. I just get to say who's in the Hall of Fame, right? And that's just how it goes. So let's get a drum roll. Here is our men's. We'll do ladies last. Here is our men's Hall of Famer in the PWT here. Let me get this going. If you smell what the Rock is cooking. So the Rock wins Why? Because he's the final boss. He did crazy this year. He just popped up, gave us WrestleMania moments. All of a sudden he's going to be in this New Year thing, so we're like anticipating him even though he ain't been around. He's a legend. He should be in every Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. And yeah, that's why I picked The Rock. I think, now's the time to do it as well, because how many more appearances are we ever going to get from him? And then John Cena's going on his last run this year. I didn't think we'd even get that. So we inducted him last year. So yeah, dude. Amazing. Our women's, we need a drum roll. We need our women's inductee, and we don't do men and women's. Like, I had induct a bunch of people. I just picked one man, one woman this year. Okay, that's how it goes. It's different every year for the Hall of Fame. Trish Stratus, Canadian. Everyone, round of applause for Trish Stratus. Canadian, a dime piece, a legend. Dropped a calendar. She's just phenomenal. Hasn't aged. Still can wrestle. Still can cut promos. Says she's a WWE girl for life, which obviously it wouldn't disqualify her regardless, but she just gets the goddamn business, and she understands always that her era and the Diva was valuable. And if it wasn't for that, we would have never gotten to what we have now in women's wrestling, which is so valuable, and she can fit in any era. She's timeless. We've all had her posters on our wall. We've all had her as our screensaver or phone background, or, so Trish Stratus, we will drop air horns, our Hall of Famer here in PWT.